All right, guys, what is up? Tonight we're going to be talking about the Netflix, Marvel, Disney deal that could happen simply because Netflix is doing pretty good right now. They've lost a lot of subscribers. I will say that. I'm not saying that they're uh, doing great. They're not doing as well as they were, but let's be real. They're doing a lot better than Disney is. And here to talk with us about that is the Spider's Lair. What is
Hey,
up?
what's up? What's
You
up?
got it to
What's
work?
up? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My camera wasn't working. The damn mic wasn't working. Now I got everything working, but my camera on this stupid laptop sucks. But hey, we
Technology
here.
never wants to
So
work.
yeah. So what we were talking about the Netflix earlier. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I know is going on because um, in order to buy Spider-Man, right? There
Yeah.
was like remember I told you that they were going to be giving up more things that you're not seeing right off the bat, but you're going to see later on down the road. Well, apparently, this is one of the things you're seeing down the road, which is the partnership to work with other streaming services again, because apparently the Netflix they call it the Marvel Netflix, all right? That's what the industry called it.
Yeah.
The Marvel Netflix, which is like the superior one. Because I do believe they do want to still do they're gonna do Daredevil Born Again. I know that's gonna be for a season at least. That's gonna happen, but I already hear right now that when it came down to the other shows, the Jessica Jones, the Luke Cage, they're already putting that on a back burner for at least another 12 to 18 months right off the bat. Which then you
Makes
start to think,
sense.
yeah, I mean, what Disney did was what most people do. They buy and buy and buy and become overinflated and then have nothing to
Yeah.
do left with the property. But you see about Netflix too, did kind of the same thing. But Netflix is wising up because they're doing a lot of measures, which one of them, I don't know if you looked at Netflix today, but they added like 39 new shows and movies and stuff. Okay, so they have a lot of um property they're buying. They're buying a lot of old shows that have been on. Like I saw Ballers up there. They're buying all these properties, and instead of like investing more in making things, they're gonna have people bring their stuff to them. Whenever you see something that's a Netflix original,
Mm-hmm.
like 80% of the time, it never started out in Netflix. About 80% of the time, it started out as in. I mean, I'm trying to think of one that I can think of that everybody would know wasn't a Netflix series and then became one. So I can't think
Wasn't
of it
Squid
right off
Games
the hand.
originally not Netflix?
Okay, so with Squid Games, what happened was Squid Games was offered to Netflix when Netflix was out in its first couple of years. Like Squid Games was on the back burner for over about I heard anywhere for 15 years, 10 to 15 years. It was on the back burner. So they offered it to Netflix. They didn't want to do it. But Netflix then agreed to do it if they made it an exclusive to Netflix. And they were like, okay. So when you it's a lot of, but that's a smart thing that Netflix is doing because instead of sitting there and making the work for you, outsource the work, throw your little stamp of approval on it, and want to edit it, and then that's it. You just put it out there, and it's a wrap. So the thing about these Marvel properties is that one of the things that were made um available was the understanding that well, if we're gonna sell you guys certain stuff, like when the time comes, for whatever reason, we need to make money, and this is what Disney now is why they're considering doing this. Because first of all, I mean, I've been talking about this for the last 6 months with you, so you already know. I told you
Yeah.
this was gonna go down. I told you this streaming service was gonna take a humongous hit. I told you they
I
was gonna
never
lose
understood
billions.
how these streaming services were ever supposed to make money.
Okay, I'm gonna explain that to you real quick because what had
Like,
happened was it wasn't supposed to. It wasn't supposed to.
okay.
This was a pandemic thing. Understand? This is a
Yeah.
pandemic thing. So free money, people home, spending, spending, spending. We'll just do a bundle. People got time to watch this stuff, and that's it. But the thing
Yep.
about it is, what people don't understand is during the pandemic, like a lot that, and you notice I call it the pandemic writing. A lot of writers started getting bad during the pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't because the writers didn't have access to things. I mean, there were shops, and we were still working then, but it was very limited content. But you could still work. We just don't. I just believe like I always said this was going to happen, and I said this way before the pandemic, and I said, well, I believe during these lockdowns, you're gonna see a lot of people acting nuts. And I think people working in the industry or anywhere, you're just gonna see a whole different behavioral change in society. Because it's something that is took a toll on people. And I started seeing it in the writers, and I started seeing it in people I knew. And I was like, okay, this is what's going on. But when you get that, then it bleeds on into like your entertainment, not intentionally, of course, but
Yeah.
it does bleed into entertainment. So once that happens, you gotta like pretty much you just gotta like I don't know. I tell them like this: the writing's all over the place, and I to be all over the place with the writing like they are. There's like when you go into a writer's room, right? I'm trying to explain to you guys because you've never been in one, so I'm trying to say it so you. Okay, She-Hulk was the perfect example. That's a typical writer's room. That's exactly what they would do. They would sit there. There would be ideas on the board. People would be throwing stuff back and forth. Because a lot of people like to think that everything is written. Oh, I like that Spidey thing.
Oh yeah.
Everything's written. I like that ahead of time, right? Everybody would like to think this, but I mean, take it from me, who's the writer that's not on strike. It's not like that at all. I mean, you can do it, but why would you want to? Because then maybe you get an idea or inspiration to change something a little, and you don't want to go through the whole rewrite. So I say if you're going to write anything, especially with and this is what Hollywood does too. It's more like thoughts. I have a category here. These are my thoughts, and this is what could happen. And then depending on how you pitch the story, I mean, then other people can add their ideas in, other writers, which is why they want the
Yeah.
six writers, because they think six writers is going to make it good. No, all you need is one good writer. This is all you really need is one good writer, and someone who can keep continuity with the story. Because I always find, and I always see that the
Yeah.
problem I see with people is that, I mean, I try to do it too, and I make sure I don't do it. Is they write themselves into a corner. Okay, I mean, I didn't even want to watch Secret Invasion. I watched one episode and I already knew from that first episode, oh, this is horrible. But when they gave a guy all the powers, it's like playing with that kid at the end of like you ever play with the kid that
So
has well I just couldn't take
yes,
it, but
I will
I just
say the one thing that I did like about that, the fact that they gave the Super Skrull all of the powers that we've seen, is because it made sense. When the Super Skrull first got introduced, he got introduced in a Fantastic Four comic.
mm-hmm.
And it made sense for him to only have the powers of the Fantastic Four because that's who he was going to battle against. To give
Yeah.
a Super Skrull all the powers of everything that's been seen, yes, it's super overpowered. Yes, it's kind of goofy. But I also like that it is realistic. Like if you're gonna go after the Avengers powers, you're not just gonna get 3 or 4. You're gonna try to get as many as you can. You're gonna be
Yeah.
the Super Skrull.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. I just
So
feel like
it, like
yeah,
we were talking about in chat, the
yeah.
realism of it makes sense. The
Yeah,
goofiness
no.
of it is where you
Yeah.
lose it.
Yeah, you see, well, the thing is that yeah, it does make sense in a storyline, but the thing about it is that you just it's it's like throwing your trump card, your nuclear option. That's it. It's like pushing a nuclear button. There's nothing left after that. There's
True.
nothing you could really build on that. I mean, what
Completely agree.
is she more powerful than Captain Marvel? I guess so. Now I don't even know. Does she have everybody's powers? Who knows? Now what you gonna do? Have her fight? I mean, like it's just to me, it's just like this is the problem with writing, and I've told you this is what I started seeing during the pandemic. It's that the writing's all over the place. I don't know if it's convoluted on purpose or just
Mm-hmm.
people are just losing track. You shouldn't at that level with so many people in your staff be that far off of a point you're trying to make. Because even with the whole story, like I would have wrote Secret Invasion way different. Because first of all, it's hard for me to believe as a person of average intelligence that a space bearing race is so like couldn't just go and find another planet to inhabit. They have freaking spaceships. They could travel through
Mm-hmm.
space. But this is the only planet you can find. I just find that whole thing to be crazy. And then you're
Yeah.
gonna nuke the planet. Okay, what happens when you nuke a planet? Radiation. Okay, they could take the radiation. Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense in the story. But in reality, if you start nuking cities and a world, you're gonna destroy it. So what are you gonna have left? Okay, you could take the radiation, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have a destroyed world anyway. Which
No
spaceships to
food,
go to? Oh,
no
right.
oxygen. Like you'll destroy the ecosystem to the point where it becomes unlivable and you'll have to move anyways. Which obviously in a revenge story, stuff's not going to make sense because you're going to go for the most
No, so you go
catastrophic
for
for
the
your
dramatic.
enemy.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, like, I
I
get it
like
because
this comment.
it's
Maybe they just
Disney. Yeah.
filter feed.
I get it that there's kids on this, but I mean, if we're gonna watch this with our kids, let it make sense to both of us. The kids even looking at it like, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "You want me to tell you, kid? I don't write this stuff. It's read symbiotic. It's written way better." So, I
So
just want to give a quick comic update. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off topic.
no, you're good.
So
I like with
yeah,
Secret Invasion, with even like Falcon Winter Soldier. I understand they didn't want to go the virus route. I understand that got rewritten. I was a huge fan of Falcon Winter Soldier. I thought that was done very tastefully, very
I like
well.
Batman with
There were
Soldier.
bits and
I can.
pieces that I'm like, don't know if I would have gone that direction, but also I'm
Well,
not
you
getting
got
paid
to
the
do
big bucks to
better.
write
You got to do better.
it. But like, there's times where you're just like, it's. I'm glad they didn't bring any Avengers into Secret Invasion because I do think that would have made it too much like the comics and too much just like again this unstoppable force where any Skrull can have any power they want because all they have to do is copy the Avenger that they see. And it makes
Yeah.
sense for Nick Fury to be like, yeah, let's not get them involved unless we have to. I don't think we're going to need to.
I mean, because if they have the ability to take other people's power, keep them the hell away from these scrolls. That's what I do. There you go.
Exactly.
So that's a good write-in off. Oh, we can't bring him in. This is the reason. I mean, like I said, Secret Invasions was made like I felt it was made serious and silly at the same time. Like I need you to pick like a fork in the road and just go in one direction. Don't confuse me with going back and forth. And like I said, I when it came to the movie like Barbie, I had no problem with
Mm-hmm.
Barbie. You know why? Because it's a girl movie. It's a girl boss movie. Only thing
Yeah.
I got a problem with is girl bosses in Marvel because first of all, they don't belong there. Second of all, the girls don't even want them there. The females
Yep.
themselves, they're like, why are they doing? I still with my fiance, we watch Marvel. She's always like, why are they doing this? I said, girl
Mm-hmm.
power. This is what you guys want. She goes, I don't want this crap. No one's gonna believe that a 105-pound girl, regardless of how many pounds you give her, is gonna slam a super scroll. Nobody believes that. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's just a matter of physics. I know we live in a world where everything's supposed to be pretend and facts don't matter anymore. But I don't know. I'm kind of old school. So when I see things like this, I'm like, this stupid generation. Like, why, kids? Why? Why are you
Yeah.
trying to convince me about something that's not true? I just can't take it. I don't know. I sound like an old man now.
Because Marvel was always meant to be the comic that when you look out the window, that's what the world would look like if there were superheroes, aliens, villains, all of that in it. That's what
Yeah.
Marvel was always meant to be. The overdramatic BS was supposed to be DC. And I mean,
Yeah.
I saw it perfectly tonight watching Super Pets. And I loved Super Pets because they made fun of
Yeah.
some of the dumb stuff that DC has done over the years. And it's like,
Yep.
yes, there's times where I'm like, why did you even bother with this? Why did you care about this? Why take
Yeah.
it in that direction? The fact that Batman is goofy as all can be, like he made a comment, I prefer to work alone, except for Alfred and Robin and Nightwing and and
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
just started
exactly.
naming the whole freaking.
I
So he
work
never works
alone, but
alone.
I've got like 5 sidekicks.
Yeah, man. I
Remind me
tell you,
again how many people are in the Bat family at this point? 100?
yeah, right. There's like I don't know what's bigger, the Bat Family or the Spider Verse. No, actually, I think the Spider Verse is bigger, but don't worry, the Bat Family will grow. Trust me, that's it. It'll always grow. I only watch the Barbie for the.
For the cats.
That's right, man. So like I I don't mind, like I said, like I don't mind people writing stories trying to make something creative and new. That's fine, but you gotta make guys, you're on strike, right? And I keep telling you guys when you're calling me, asking me for money, I won't say who you are. Oh yeah, a lot of these guys are already broke. You got like I'm not gonna give no one's business out here, but I'm telling you, it's only been a few months and I already got people calling me up asking me to borrow money. And I'm not laughing at them. If you would see the people that are calling me up and asking me for money, you would laugh. You'd be like, what? And I'm like, stop messing with me, man. You be back to work a couple months. Stop partying. Click. Like,
Yeah.
don't bother me. Just stop spending your money. But, that's the Hollywood lifestyle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got a lot of these actors are selling their houses now because they never learned the one important thing that the middle class learned. You got no choice. It's how to budget. You got to learn how to budget your money. You know,
Yeah.
I got people who are worth $5, $10 million that tell me I'm still broke, kind of like, no, you're not. You think you're broke. You just don't know what to do with your money. Because I always
Yeah.
say this to people. And listen, this is a pearl of advice for free. It's not how much money you make. It's what you do with that money
Yep.
you make that counts. I'm telling you. Not saying I need more money too. I'm not saying having more money is a bad thing. But
Yeah.
you ever hear the stories of poor people who win the lotto and they go broke like that? Now, why is that? They had all the money, right? So if
Because they
money
don't know
solves
the
your problem,
value of the money that's sitting in their hand.
exactly. You got to know how to
Yeah.
manage your own money. I started a company. I
Completely
couldn't
agree.
just start one. I had to fund it. I had to know like my checks and balances. I had to know what I can afford. You know, it took me years to really put everything together. And this is what life is about. And this is how people got to roll. You know, it's not hard. I don't know. I just feel like modern entertainment to me is just like I think it's the most confused and convoluted time to be alive as an entertainer, as a creative, as anyone in entertainment. Because I already told you, I don't know if you know about your YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is starting to pick up again. Everything's picking up. And I'm telling you right now, oh, did you see this? I'm going to get the article when we come back. Maybe we could talk about this next week if you want. But apparently, I got word from, I'm not going to say his name, he's too big of a star, says this to me, and I thought he was joking. Um, Why are you guys not supporting us on all your YouTubers? I'm like, bro, what? And he's like, why you not? You guys, you still writing your comic? You're still on YouTube? I'm under
Yeah.
your union? Like, what the hell? Who told you to go on strike? You're taking money out of my pocket right now. I don't care about your strike. I said, so, and then on top of that, when have you ever supported us? And this is a big star
So
I'm talking to. Yeah. And he's like,
Stephen Amell
yeah,
said, "I don't support or not that he doesn't support the strike, but that the strike is not the way that he would go about it." And
right, it's
everyone's like, "Oh,
dumb.
how dare he say that? How dare he think that this is stupid and wrong and bad of us to strike?" And it's like, no. He didn't say that he thinks it's bad. He just said it is a dumb way to go about getting what you want.
Look,
And
shout out.
of course, then he's going to be on the picket lines 2 days later because he's not trying to like walk himself back. He's saying, I don't think this is the best way to do this, but since we chose to do it this way, I will support you.
Yeah, it's all like I said. I don't know why these rich millionaires don't listen to me. I tell them this all the time. I go, "What are you guys doing?" They go, "What do you mean?" I said, "Why are you in the union?" They go, "What do you mean for rights?" I'm like, "For benefits." I'm like, "Bro, you guys are multi-millionaires. What do you need a union for? This is what you got
Yeah.
contracts for. This is what you got talent agencies for. This is what you got people negotiating things for you for. What the hell are you doing? You're not the middle
Yep.
class. Stop trying to act like it." I said, when you guys try to play this shit and go on strike, it's going to backfire. And a lot of people not going to give a damn about you because you're
Yep.
not poor. It's not local 101 going on freaking strike or the teachers union or a
Yep.
sanitation or police union. Well, I know the police in New York can't strike, so that's off the table. But yeah, like it's not like one of those middle class unions that this is like you are rich and ultra rich. And
Yeah.
like and there are listen, for everybody who thinks that there's people who don't make money there is a lot. I mean, I see it from extras to associated product assistants, like production assistants. Some of them make money, some of them don't. I've seen some work a show practically for free. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm gonna get top billing on this show, and that's gonna bring me another show. And he was right.
Exactly.
So there is a level of people suffering in there. But I say like this: listen,
There's always a stepping stone in your career.
you can always have it worse.
Yep.
And I used to tell it to people. And you know what I did before this. So I would tell people my stories and I would give them, a day in the life of me. And then they're like realizing, wow, I actually have it that good. Looking at me like, you survived all that? I was like, oh, I thrived in it. I just thrived in it. But that's me. So when I was able to get jobs like this, you gotta understand from my perspective, this was just like I felt like I was robbing them every day. I'm like, I'm stealing from these people because I'm just doing my job. I'm stealing from them. I feel like I was just stealing from them, but no, I'm doing my job. I'm going in. It's just that it's the kind of work that I came from versus what I did, it was completely like, I mean, they were both independent. That's one thing I got to say. Almost every job I've ever had, I've been in a position where I was pretty much my own boss in a way. Like, they just give me what I got to do, and you don't bother me. If you need me, call me, walkie me, whatever.
You know my number. You can get in
Yeah.
touch with me.
I mean, they got, because when we do work with them, right, and I'm working with the union, so we all get walkies. And my walkie's set to everybody's frequency, so I'm always getting bleep, 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 bleep. I turn it off sometimes. Then they'll call me on my phone, But it's like that. Like when you start working, it's just crazy. It's like you get into a routine. Everybody gets to know what everybody does, and you just do your part and help the production along.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite part of what I was doing was like I loved when they were working on shows, and they were like, "Oh, you live towards here, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going in that direction." They're like, "Okay," and they give you like film to a TV show. And I had film to I think I had film to one of your favorite shows. I was actually gonna show it to you and take a picture if I
Oh
want to
yeah.
get in trouble. I think what do you like? I think it was I had film for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I worked out a couple
Okay.
of I had like a couple months ago. I did like a couple of things for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I had to drop off the film in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a film. That's funny. So yeah, they
What's up,
filming in
comic vet?
Brooklyn. They filming in Brooklyn. So it's like this. If you ever see anything like this goes anywhere, they'll film it on the streets, and then but with technology now, you could just start like just putting the raw footage together. But even the
Yeah.
raw footage is gonna take like an hour or two. Once that raw footage is done, they give you like this huge box. It's like I don't even know what it looks like. I never even opened it up. It's like a yellow box, and in that yellow box is a freaking whole episode digitized, but it's not done yet. That goes to the editor, and you see they're like moment. They come out like 4 in the morning, and I'm not dropping off film like at a normal time. It's like 3, 4 a.m. I'm just 4 a.m. driving across Brooklyn, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, dropping it off to the Brooklyn editors, and they're just edited it up all night. And it's just crazy. So yeah, the job is just like that. And I just tell all the people that I know that I've ever worked with is get the hell back to work. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. This is the longest strike, and they're so afraid of being replaced. I said the only way you're going to be replaced in this world is if you suck. Stay
Yep.
good at what you do, and you will never be replaced.
Yeah. Keep your head low. Do what you got to do, and you'll be good.
Listen, when it comes to
I mean, that goes with
entertainment,
any job.
yeah, when it comes to any job, entertainment, or whatever you do, you always have to change it up. You always have to evolve. You have to. You can't stay
For
stagnant.
sure.
You can't stay the same. A lot of people get caught in a routine, and this is how they wind up with nothing at the end of their lives because they wind up in a routine and they're not
Yep.
looking into the future. They're just concentrating on the here and now, not realizing, no, I have to set my stuff up and have a better future. So I don't know. I just look at it like being around all this craziness. I liked it because it was just like, and it's long hours. I mean, yes, it is long hours. Everything you hear virtually is true. Oh, it's long hours. It is. And I'm telling you, I've met people who I'm looking at them and I'm like, bro, just have a seat. They're like, oh, thank God. I was like, what do you mean, thank God? I haven't sat all day. I mean, what do you mean
Yeah.
you haven't sat all day? I haven't sat for 12 hours. I was like, okay. So I'm not thinking like maybe like he took a seat for lunch or something. I'm like, well, did you have lunch? He goes, this is my lunch. I'm like, now he's dead, dead. He's dead in my office. I left him there sleeping. He's dead for like a half hour. I said, go to sleep, man. Don't
Yep.
worry. If they're looking for you, I tell you, I send you on your way. But go to sleep, take a nap. Like, and it's like that. It's really
Yeah.
like that. I've met people where, you know, um, because of
Because
what I
when
did,
shit needs to get done, shit needs to get done. It's
yeah,
not,
I
you
mean,
can't take a
yeah,
break from it. You need to,
yeah. So
like,
there's
you're
people who,
running around 24/7. If you're one of those people,
oh yeah, yeah. Believe
like,
me. Not only are
you
you,
might be a faceless character, a faceless cog in the machine, but as soon as you take yourself out of that machine for even a second, it breaks down. And a
oh
lot of
yeah,
people don't realize that all those names that come after the $1 million actors, those A-listers, they're just as important as everything that's going on that screen.
yeah. I'm pretty much in that list. I'm in the next page list. I'll show you my name in a couple. I never really tried to look for them. I mean, there is a movie that I think I'm in, La La Crocodile. So I'm gonna look that up. I know I
Okay.
have to be in that one. Um, and I'm gonna see where I lie, and I'll take a screenshot and I'll show you. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right about that too. And there is a lot of production behind the scenes, and I've seen it. I mean, You got sound people, you got grips, you got catering, you got people
Yeah.
who run the truckers, you got people who run the van drivers, you got people who are in charge of the script, you got people who are in charge of payroll, and everything I just said. That's almost everything I do because sometimes I find myself doing all that. Hey, would you
Mm-hmm.
mind going to get everybody's check? I remember one time I had to go get somebody's check. It was a big guy's check too. And the big guy came to me and goes, "Hey, don't be losing my check." I said,
Look
"Look,
at
let me
that.
tell you
Keanu
something,
Reeves'
man."
check just
I said, "Let me
disappeared.
tell
I
you
don't know
something."
where it went.
I said, "If that check ain't 10 million, you ain't got nothing to worry about." I said, "I can't catch it anyway. My bank won't take it." So yeah, I would like, it's like you said, you wear many hats and you do many things. I loved it. I love the work and the atmosphere and meeting different people. And sometimes you would meet like, I don't know, sitting there one day in my office and dude walks in. It's like I have a small office with like a small black couch. It's almost like a therapy office. I swear to God, I feel like I'm a therapist. And people just walk in and they don't talk to me and I talk to them. And then I don't realize it's first who I'm talking to. Sometimes it's like famous directors or producers. I don't really see at first, and I'm like, wait a minute, was that? Oh shit, I think that was Steven Spielberg. Okay, what's I passed him a couple of times, and I didn't know it was him. And I saw him. I'm like, wait a minute, he looks like. And I'm looking back. I'm like, what's that? This like that's Steven Spielberg. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna go back there. I'm just gonna keep going. But like sometimes you just run into people. I I ran into Kevin Spacey once, just looking for directions for that was the funniest day actually because that was the same day that I was looking for directions of my new assignment, and it was for that show, The Blacklist, and I love that show.
Okay.
By the way, I love that show. I gotta get back into it. I only did the first 5 seasons, but it's evolved a lot. So I was asking, like, where would the stage entrance where was it set up? Stage entrances means they'll take a temporary building and they'll make an entrance. But if you don't have a map yet, I didn't have a map, so I didn't know which way the entrance was. So I see a guy sitting up on this truck, and I swear it looks just like Ray Remington. I'm not thinking about it at first. I'm like, hey, do you know what? And then he said, oh, my learned friend. Sure, if you go this way and make a left, it'll be right around the corner. I go, okay, thank you, sir. He goes, you're welcome, young man. Let me know how it goes when you get back. So I freaking go in that, and that was the same day. Like I'm given like something to read, and then
Yeah.
they're like they thought I was reading for a script. I'm like, I'm not here for an acting job. I'm here with the union. They're like, oh,
I've
so
got a
then I go
job.
back.
Chill.
So then I go back out and see him, and he goes, "How'd it go there, young man?" I said, "Well, I almost got the part, but I was here for the union job." He started laughing. He goes, "Well, excellent." He had a mai tai, I believe he was drinking with a grass hat on, with
Just chilling with a
shades,
Mai Tai.
fucking just in the back of a truck, like the truck has like a metal plate, so he has like a little table set up, like a
Mm-hmm.
cocktail hour, with a little table, little mai tai, little umbrella. Freaking, he has a little umbrella on the table, and he has a straw hat on. He's just sitting back chilling, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, Ray Remington. He started laughing. And I'm like, all right, man, I'll see you later. That's how I'd be with them. So this because I'll see you down
That's
the road
awesome.
later on. Yeah, I mean, it's just weird. Like, I like what I do, and that's why I'm mad. You guys need to get back to work because I got things to sell and I got comics to make, and I need you guys money because you guys make more money than me. So come on in, come on, let's go back to work. I tell them all, but I'd be honest with you, there's about 80% of them don't want to be on the strike, but you decide to be the middle class.
You know, I, I think it comes down, like for me, on the outside looking in, seeing the fact that a lot of this is, or a lot of it seems like it's, we don't want you to be able to take our likeness and use it for the next 1,000 years.
Yeah, I mean
Simply
that was a
because you
big
like
deal.
us and all of that, and you have the AI technology, or you think you're going to have it very soon, to basically take you could literally take me, put me into the next 500 movies, and not pay me a dime except for the first time you use or get my likeness. And I understand that. Like, I totally get that people don't want that to happen because then that kills the entire industry.
Of course,
It
yeah,
it
without a doubt.
allows for the studios to do really well because then they don't have to pay people and they can still have these amazing actors and these amazing things go on, and CGI technology is great whether people like it or not right now. But it's just insane because it's like if you take that off the table, if you say we're not going to do that, I feel like this strike wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I mean, okay, AI. Let's talk about it. It's like the boogeyman in the room. The thing we're not supposed to talk about. Okay, AI. I love how people complain about AI, and we'll go back to Secret Invasions when that entire freaking opening scene was made with AI. Trust me, I helped make some of that. That's how I know. So, good job. Oh yeah, there was a couple of overlays. That's a check that's coming to me, so that's how I know. So yeah, right off the bat, right? Okay, we were talking about technology. We all talked about it, and we all understand what it could do and the implications of it. Okay, I say this: it doesn't matter how good AI is; it's never gonna have the soul of a human.
No.
That means it can write and you'll know. You'll
Yep.
know. When you read an AI, right now at least, you'll know. There's just something off about it. It doesn't have the soul of a human being, you know?
Yeah.
How dare you? It just doesn't have the soul of a human being. Like,
No,
it
for
can
sure.
do things and it can, but, um, okay, the face thing is definitely a problem. Cause Chris, I think I'm gonna take your likeness and put it on my videos soon. Maybe I'll make you my new Bully McGuire. Chris from the comics now. It starts in the air. You mess with me. You're too much, Spectre. I'm looking for you, baby. But yeah. So perfect example, right? What you just said. That's why I started cracking up. I was like, damn. I really hope that one day Tom McGuire, when he sees me, doesn't pull up and be like, "What the hell's all this Bully McGuire stuff?" I'm like, I love you, man. I love you. I was just
Yo, that would be
teasing
so
you.
amazing. If you were to just
I
meet
mean,
Tobey Maguire, he goes, "Is this
I
you?"
came. Look, there's gonna be a new Spider-Man coming up, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not saying, I'm putting in for it. This is the only job I ever put in for. The way this works with us, you don't really get to choose. You just say you're available. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
but
will be available.
yeah. So you just say you're available, but I'm going to make a special request when they start shooting Spider-Man 4. I already talked to enough people and they know how I feel about it. They know I'm on a YouTube channel. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to meet Tony McGuire. We meet down the road, because I was already told if I wanted to do the meet, I could have, but
Also, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4, not Tom Holland's,
no, Tony McGuire is Spider-Man 4. But
which
Tom Holland,
is
I would like to be
confirmed.
on.
Is
It's not.
confirmed.
It's
Okay.
not yet.
Damn.
It's not. I'm telling you what was going on. Right before the strike, they were talking about Tom Holland and Tom McGuire, Spider-Man 4, figuring out how they were going to tie in the universes, and then strike happened. So as
Yeah.
far as I know, we had Tom Holland on board, and Toby's was still being worked out. Like the details on
Yeah.
what was going to be, who was going, because Sam Raimi is going to be the one who will be directing Spider-Man 4. He is definitely coming back to do it, without a doubt. And that was one of the caveats. I don't know how it was baked in the contract, whether they wanted him or he wanted to be in self-asserted. I believe that studios wanted Sam Raimi because I'm not even gonna keep talking about Spider-Man 3. I call that my nightmare. Where Spider-Man 2 was like my dream movie. That's Tom Holland's. No, not Tom Holland. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 2. The best freaking Spider-Man, period. And for one reason, the only Spider-Man to actually accurately detail one of Spider-Man's greatest stories. Now, if they do it right with the symbiote, I'll be happy. But
Mm-hmm.
that Spider-Man 2, like I said, I say it all the time, sitting there with my fiance, and I knew what was gonna happen. And I'm like, do I tell her or do I just watch her emotional face? Because not only is she like a sweet girl, she's highly emotional. Like she gets
Mm-hmm.
sad, like really easy. Like I almost feel sad for her getting this emotional. So
I love watching my wife watch a movie.
you know what
I
I'm
have
saying?
to say
Yeah.
that.
Especially when there's some shit that's about to go down that
Oh
is
yeah.
gonna be so fucked up that once they see it, at first they're not gonna know what's going on, and then they're
Yep.
gonna figure it out, and then they're gonna be like, and then all of a sudden here comes the waterworks. So she was like, I think, I'm like, oh no. She goes, I said, no, she died. She snapped her back. She was like, no, like quiet in the movies. She's like, what? And I told her later on, I said,
Yeah.
okay, I wasn't sure if that was gonna happen. I didn't want to spoil it for you. I wasn't sure, but I had a feeling from watching the movie that this was the story they were gonna take because that was the movie.
Yep.
But at that time, they never said that they were tackling Gwen Stacy's death. You never
Yeah.
knew that was gonna happen. As far as they were telling us, we're gonna build up this
Yep.
universe of Spider-Man with Gwen Stacy, you know,
Yep.
and no, instead they fucking killed her. But I like how they
Instead,
did it.
they teased us with his parents.
Yes,
They
yes,
kill
yes,
off Gwen Stacy. They do
yes,
all this shit, and I'm still pissed that we don't have an Amazing Spider-Man 3.
yeah. I think
Still
definitely.
pissed about that.
Listen, I'd say honestly, after Spider-Man 2, I really thought you were gonna get a Spider-Man 3, and I was definitely interested in seeing it because I like Spider-Man 1, it was good, but the Spider-Man 2, I'm telling you, it's nothing. There's no Spider-Man movie that's better. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
For the effects, for the way he swings, his attitude, the way that he carried himself as Spider-Man. I just
Yeah.
didn't like his hair. Other than that, everything was fine. He captured the essence of Spider-Man in every way. Like
even Peter Parker, he was an amazing Peter Parker. I know a lot of people are like, no, he wasn't Peter Parker. He was not the Peter Parker I grew up with. I was like,
no, he was more
the
of
Peter Parker you grew up with was in the 60s.
yes,
We're now
yes, and
talking about
that's
a Peter Parker in high school in the 2010s.
yeah.
That
He
is
that
what Peter Parker would be in the 2010s. End of
Exactly.
discussion.
Yeah. Right. He is that Peter Parker. He is that scientific nerdy kid
Yeah.
researcher. That's what I liked about it too. Like I said, the best way to have encapsulated one of the greatest stories, which is crazy because now we have Spider Gwen, Gwenum, all this
Yep.
craziness that you wouldn't have had without that. You know, it's just
Yeah.
like the multiverse. You know, when you hear actors and you tell them about the multiverse and they're like, "What?" You know how many times I tell actors about the multiverse? So you need to start learning this term. What is that? The multiverse. What? What is that? Sit down and explain. It's like, wait a minute. So in this multiverse, there's 20 of the same villain, 20 of the same hero. I'm like, well, something like that. They don't get it.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, like you see them in the superhero movies, don't know shit about the superhero movies. Zip. Don't know nothing about the movie. Don't know nothing about the lore. Nothing. You know, they were just like, you know, of course, like. So the concept is we're going into it like it was some movie. I forget what it was, but they were telling one of the actors about the concept of the multiverse, and they must have explained to him 4 times. He still didn't get it. Finally, I'm hanging out with him later, and I explained to him 3 more times. And then what I had to do was, in order to get it, this is the best way to explain the multiverse to anyone that doesn't understand it. Just take one line and draw 8 lines and say that's the multiverse. That means in this one line you have a conversion. In this universe, you have something that's called an event, conversion, whatever you want to call it. Some kind of event that winds up splitting the timelines off to multiple universes.
Yeah, in this one, he tied his shoes. In this one, he forgot to tie his shoes. In this one, he forgot to tie his shoes and tripped. In this one, he forgot to tie his shoes and decided to just go tieless for the rest of it. Like that's what the multiverse is.
Yeah.
Every little thing causes a whole new line of what could possibly happen
creation.
next.
Yeah. You're creating new timelines when you're doing that. Right.
Exactly.
So I explained to them like what it is like, and I say in all scientific reality, we can be multiverse because of the fact that space is infinite.
Yep.
As far as we know. But even if there was an end, to us it's so infinite there won't be an end ever. So if there is infinity within the universe, how is there not other universes similar to ours or in a direct copy? It would have to make sense because you can. Reality is built on something. We are floating in something that we call space. But what is space really? Could it like
what is
I
space
feel
floating in?
like our space is floating within a multi-space with neighboring universes that are multiverses, and it's kind of like oil in water. And you put the oil in the water and you watch it spread, and that's what it is. We are literally floating in a bubble of dark matter.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids, I am kind of a scientist. I do write sci-fi, but yeah.
Have you ever met Jim Parsons? He played Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory.
I had a quick meet with the man. We were at a party, on the New Year's party, and I kind of like caught him on the way out, and he caught me on the way in. And actually, he was wearing like, I think he was wearing a Green Lantern shirt. It was like one of these parties where everybody dressed up, and I had my Spider-Man shirt on, and we stopped, and he looked at me. He was like, and we both said at the same time, "Nice shirt." And then he just kept going. But he was on his way out. So yeah, I did mean that dude's so funny, man. That whole
I
cast is
love
great, man. I
I
want to
love
work
the
on
way
that.
that Sheldon describes the multiverse, like on multiple different occasions in The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
I've rewatched that series multiple times by now, and I was just rewatching one, and Amy's like, or not Amy, Penny's like, "Don't you dance?" And he goes, "I do subscribe to the many worlds theory, but I guarantee you, in no universe is Sheldon Cooper dancing." And let me just say, there is probably multiple universes where I'm a clown made of pudding or whatever, like whatever he said.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, that is the perfect definition of the multiverse, that
Yeah, you could be anything in
everything
the
is kind
multiverse.
of
A bowl of
happening at the
jello.
same time. Yeah.
Like in other words, whatever you could think of already has happened, will happen,
Yep.
has always happened. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. It gets really, it becomes science at one point. It's science fiction because
Yeah.
we know it exists, but we can't prove it
Yep.
actually does. At least not yet, you know.
And that's why I love Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, and I feel like you have to have a firm understanding of what a multiverse is going into that movie.
Yeah,
And
and that's the
they
problem
did
with a lot of
very
the fans.
well.
Yeah.
Like they did very well explaining
Yeah,
what
I think you're right about
the
that. What the
multiverse
multiverse
is.
could look like, and
Yeah.
yeah, how you
And
could
what they
exist.
knew about it at that time. And personally, I feel that the best way to explain the multiverse is the way the Flash did over multiple seasons of a show. And
Yeah.
no one else is ever going to be able to replicate that, because no one else has that amount of time to just dive straight into the multiverse. If they
Ooh, you
did
want to?
that,
Yeah,
everything else would be put on hold.
absolutely.
It's
You want
just
to hear a
how it would
rumor
have to
about the
be.
Flash? Would you
Yeah,
like to hear a nice rumor about the Flash?
love
You
to.
know, okay. So James Gunn really wants the Flash from the TV show to be the new DC Flash. This is like 95% confirmed. Yeah. And you know what? I say they should have done that from the get go. I
Yep.
always said that. Why you got this stupid Ezra Miller in there?
Yeah.
I forget this guy's name. Gavin. I forget how to say his name,
Grant
but
Gustin.
I've Gavin Gustin. Yes, and I've watched that show religiously. I stopped watching after season 7. I'm gonna jump back into it because I ain't like the whole. I know how it ends. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody that hasn't
Yeah.
watched it. I know how it ends. I thought it was dumb, but I still like the fact that for so many years that show was going strong. The
Yeah.
Arrowverse, I loved it. I thought the Arrowverse was awesome when they was doing all those crossovers, and I'm like, damn, you could have done this in the comics. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's a shame DC never made money off of it, but
I
these
know.
are the concepts that you can make money off of if done right. I don't understand what WB was doing with all this money, because I thought for years, I mean, you see a show, you're like, damn, 7 seasons, it's got to be making some dough.
Yeah.
You're like, it's got, well, everybody was making dough. I mean, I've worked on a few of those shows and I made some dough. I mean, but like I said, no, the show wasn't.
It was like $1 million episode.
Yeah.
Like that was the budget, was $1 million an episode. So you're talking about a 22, maybe $50 million budget over the course of the life of a season, because you've got to factor in the marketing, the paying the actors, paying the people, like that. Every bit of that, I'd say it's probably 25 to 20 to 50 million for a season.
Whatever the budget is,
how the
I
hell
would
are you
always
not
say,
making money?
remember what I said back earlier about how it doesn't matter how much money you make, is what you do with the money, because it's what they were doing with their money.
Oh, for
They
sure.
were making bad investments. They were moving their money in the wrong direction. They were not taking advantage of the cap market that they had and the time slot they had. They weren't getting premiums for their commercials. They were taking discount on commercials just to get people to watch, just to get advertisers. They were selling themselves short. Listen, if you have something of value, try never to sell yourself short. That's it. I'm a creator. I'm not selling myself short. These are my prices. That's it. You know why? I have to set a precedent. You need to set a precedent. If you are a talented individual and you're providing something, that's a precedent you have to set. Don't ever sell yourself short.
Yeah. You've got two of the best DC characters on TV every single week, twice a week. And you're telling me that out of all the DC fans, you can't get enough people to watch to make some money? I don't believe that for a second.
I was watching that for years, both shows. They used to come on back to back. There you go. Now you got people there for 2 hours. So you got 2 hours to make money. You couldn't make money?
Supergirl, I did not like the
that
actress.
I
Like
watched the first season,
I
but I know she
I
was
couldn't get
annoying.
into it. And my
Yes,
wife, she's like, okay, I do, because with the crossovers, you have to watch all 4 or 5 episodes of the crossover. And as the
yeah.
seasons progress, she goes, okay, she's starting to be like feel herself out and be better in the role and not be such a try hard. Like my wife was saying, she is just trying way too hard to prove to the audience that she is Supergirl. I said, I totally see that. But she's probably a newer actress, or she's never done some role this big before. So that's a big thing. That's a big deal. Being Supergirl cannot be easy, just like being Superman cannot be easy. That's a big shoes to fill.
Oh, definitely,
Um,
definitely.
and then like Batgirl, there was absolutely no reason to include Batgirl in the Arrowverse. DC Legends of Tomorrow was okay. It kind of went after the multiverse theory. It kind of allowed for different things to happen. It was kind of like what if in a way. But I
Yes,
never watched it.
exactly.
I never dove into it because I wasn't a huge fan of the characters.
Yeah,
I love
yeah. I mean,
Flash.
I
I
watched
love
like
Green
about
Arrow.
yeah. That's the only two I really watched. I did watch some of Legends of Tomorrow. I think I may have watched the first couple of seasons, and but like these shows, they just like what's bad. Like I said, you have to not. There's two things you can't do when you're writing. Don't write yourself into
Mm-hmm.
a corner, and don't write yourself into oblivion.
Yep.
Like when you on to a next season, even with the recap, you're having a hard time remembering what you watched
Yep.
last season. That tells you everything about how bad that was.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is why I say, as a creator, and trust me when I tell you, for all those people that think you need to stay in step and lock and tell with Hollywood, especially a YouTuber, screw you, Hollywood. Where were you guys when we were struggling? Huh? You know where you were? You were taking our ads against us. You were saying we were all crazy. You were saying that the fans were toxic. This is what you guys were doing.
Yep.
While we sitting here just trying to exist. Now you're sitting out there, shoes on the other foot, and now you know how it feels to not be in work. Now you know how it
Yep.
feels to be out there struggling. Because believe me, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't feel bad for them." Well, there are a lot of people I know who are middle class and poor too that are suffering. But I also know rich people who are suffering as well. Because like I
Yeah.
said to you guys before, it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with that money. You have to
Yep.
know how to manage money. And this is the most important skill you're gonna ever have to learn in your lives. And you're not gonna learn it in school unless you seek it out. Unless you
Yeah.
seek it out. You're not gonna because they don't want you to be economically sound. They want you to be economically dependent. So you can be like, okay, I get Disney and watch it for $12 a month because I like my kid watching Finding Nemo, but I
Mm-hmm.
got the damn DVD in the drawer and it doesn't cost nothing to put on. That's the mentality. This is
Yep.
what you need to get out of people. And this is how I think. This is why like I always saw like for years, look, and I've worked with Disney, all right? I just felt like the way Disney was it was going in a direction that I didn't like. So I noticing this in 2007. And I would speak about this all the time. And I'm telling you, I would get a lot of help for it. I mean, this is when Disney was still at this, height of popularity. They couldn't do no wrong, holier than thou. People are like, oh, why are
Mm-hmm.
you hating on them? They bring so much hope to them. I said, listen, very carefully. Disney sets up little girls for a fantasy that's not real. And then you're telling the girls now, because first it was we set them up as princesses. That's not
Yep.
good enough now. Now you're telling the girls, no, 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 you don't need nobody. Like this new Snow White. I really hope I get to meet Rachel Zelda. I would love to just meet this chick. I'm just going to laugh. I said, just do the weird, weird for me, please. I love that. I can just play that back and forth all day. Weird, weird. She's a nut. But like if you listen to her, she's exactly what all of these young 20 something millennial flat chested chicks think in Hollywood. They think
Mm-hmm.
the same way. They think that beauty is something that is wrong. They think that masculinity is toxic. They think that being saved by the prince is something that makes you weak. No, no, no. She don't need love. She just needs to know how to be a ruler of a kingdom. No, 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 no. What she needs is what everybody needs: companionship. We all
Yep.
need love, men and women.
Yep.
We all need love. Stop trying to
And
be
it's
a
okay.
goddamn boss bitch. You don't need to be one. There's
Yeah.
no such thing. You don't have to be a boss bee. Trust me when I tell you, you will have a happier time if you found the right person. That's what it comes down to. Everybody who's sad out there or miserable, and you say all this, listen, you haven't found the right person. And you've been scarred by your past, maybe.
Don't
I
disagree at
just
all.
say it's common sense to me, but for some people it's just like I tell them this and they're like, it's like a revelation to them. I'm like,
How
it's not a
dare you?
revelation. No, but in a revelation, but in a good way. Wow, I never thought about it like that. You're right. And I'm like, it's common sense though. But common sense used to be something in my generation, but I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
don't think it's so common anymore. You got all kinds of craziness. Like I said, this whole entire country and this world in general, especially here, it's a cultural war. It's an ideological war. It's everything mixed up. And the messed up part about it is that this ideology is getting mixed in our entertainment.
Yep.
Okay, when I was growing up, okay, straight up the bat, Bronze Age baby. Trust me, I learned morality from comics more than I did from the church, more than I did from my parents, more than I did from. So what are you printing now? What are you printing now that I would want to give my kid?
Yep.
Especially I'm going through my pile, and I do not subscribe to hate on any group, but I'm looking at the comics. And I saw the Pride comic there in a bundle. I just threw it to the side. Yeah, I got that one. I love that one. Double
Yeah.
Trouble, baby. I have
These
that.
these are the ones that I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep them, but at the same time, my kids are gonna love them, and
I
if I can
keep them.
teach my
Those are
kids how to
good. They're
read using
cute.
these, then
Dude,
shit, I'll
those are
go ahead and
dope,
do it.
man.
You know?
I was looking for my okay, so I'm gonna be doing a special next week. I'm looking for my old Spidey #1 from the electric company because shout out to my boy Sterling Mitchell. He brought something to my attention that I was aware of, but I forgot about. And
Mm-hmm.
there is a black Spider-Man of child before Miles
I
Morales.
remember this.
This is in 1978. He
Yep.
was a boy. I'll see if I can pull up the picture. He's in the first book of the Spider-Man book called Spidey. And let me see. This was a new commission that was done by my artist Nico Artist Supreme. So I'm gonna see if you guys can see that because my camera's bad. Wait, let me make the brightness dimmer.
Yeah.
I got the worst camera right now. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah.
There you
Look
go.
at that. That
Oh, yep.
is well. First of all, what you guys looking at right there is I want you to understand what you look at. That's a painting. That's a picture of a painting, but that is the actual painting from
Okay.
Nico Art Supreme. I'm gonna be displaying this, but look what that says. This is in 1978. He
I'm
says,
Spider
"Now,
Man. Is that?
yeah." He says, "Now I'm Spider Man, black
Yeah.
kid." Wow, me, Spider Man. I had this commissioned um by an art society. That's how I found out about it. I was like, wait, I've seen this before. Where did you
Any idea
find this
what
thing?
book that was in?
I know what book it was in. Spidey #1. Spidey from the Electric Company. It's a 1970. I don't know if you ever watched the Electric Company. You may
No.
have been too young. Okay, so it's kind of like the old school Sesame Street. It was the show where Spidey, the character was named Spidey. He was Spider Man, but his name in the
Okay.
Electric Company was Spidey. He never talked. He would just show up to a scene, and they would do like live scenes. So apparently, they liked it so much they did a limited comic for a year on it. And I
Okay.
got the whole run. It's called Spidey, and it's from the Electric Company and Marvel. And in that, and oh, not only do you see the first Black Spider-Man in that, you also see the first Black Spider-Woman in issue 5. This is a very interesting thing because I like how people think that they're coming up with original stuff. And I tell this to everybody: whatever you think that is original with comics, and you see, oh, this is groundbreaking, this is no, no. There's always been powerful females in Marvel. There's
Mm-hmm.
always been ethnicity in Marvel, and I don't think it was even done with intent. It was just you come from New York, the comic is made in New York. What do you see in New York? You see everyone from
People of every
everywhere.
shape, size,
So why
color.
would you not why wouldn't you make an entire company based on that? That's how Marvel was created. New York company, the freaking hub of the world. Everybody coming in from all ethnicities. It's a very nice thing to have. It's the melting pot of the world. And you get so much inspiration from that. Especially when you're writing the comics. You got people from all over the world. So when you do a Marvel, you see, yeah. So I when I see this, everybody's like, oh, inclusion, inclusion. Listen, you people don't know what you're talking about, obviously, because if
Yeah.
you know anything about comics, you would never use inclusion and comic book movie in the same sentence. Because for the longest, as far as I know, and I'm talking about going back to the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
Comics have always been inclusive. We always had a Spider Woman. We always had a She Hulk. We always had a Starfire. We always had girl bosses. We always had girl, female characters that didn't look to outshine the men. They just wanted to do their thing and go home and go shopping. What's wrong with that? Had your
Not
Dazzlers.
a goddamn thing.
And this is the whole point. So when you see these people, they're like, "Oh, look, we're gonna make a black Spider-Man." Look, I understand, like in times like with Spider-Man, I could see why that would happen because anyone could be Spider-Man under the costume. The problem I have is that it seems like when you watch Spider-Man lately, everyone has their goddamn mask off to begin with. So
Yep.
what's the point of being Spider-Man if you're just gonna have your mask off? Just be somebody that could swing around and just call yourself something else. Spider-Man's not supposed to be known. You're not supposed to know who he is, where he's from, where ethnicity he is, and why? Because what people don't understand. If you're playing games like this with super powerful villains and they know who you are, what do you think the first thing these super powerful villains are going to do to you? They're going to hurt your family. That's why I like the old Spider-Man because
Yeah.
he knew I can't tell people. If I tell people, they're going to go after the ones I love. So I got to keep this to myself, you know? No, not in this modern day. Like I watched Blue Beetle. I'm not going to give a review about it. I already told you I thought about it earlier. So I would say if you're going to go watch it, if you want to talk about that next week, I'm down to. Um, I'll just say this much. If they're telling us right now that this is supposed to be the franchise, like this is supposed to be their Peter Parker and Nick Fury movie, whoa, man, you would have had a better shot doing that with the Flash. And I'm not saying that the Blue Beetle was bad. I liked it in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's forgettable. I already forgot about the whole story. I know something about like it's pretty much forgettable. And that's bad. When I just watched it not only a couple hours ago, and I pretty much forgot the plot. And I'm not telling you not to do it, and maybe you'll like it. I don't want to discourage you. Don't let me tell you. I'm just trying to save you money because I know you got the family of four, and that's a lot of money, man, to be lugging the family around.
Oh no, if I go see it, it'll just be me and my wife. If my wife even joins us,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
it
so
honestly might just be me going to see it by myself. I'm cool with that.
go see
I
it
don't
by
give a
yourself,
shit.
man. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'll be honest. I give it like it was a fun movie. I'm gonna say it's about 6.5 to a high 7. I looked at the scores and before I no after I watched it and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of agree with those scores. That's about right on. It's an
Yeah.
enjoyable. You're gonna have a good time. But it's not no groundbreaking rebuilding the DC. If they think that this is a groundbreaking rebuilding the DCEU, like I said, the Flash movie was the one you could have done it in. And
Yep.
watching both movies, the Flash movie would have been better. I'm not saying that it's necessarily better than Blue Beetle, but it would have been the better option to do in the Flash movie. But you're doing it here. You're trying to kick it off. Like, did they try this already with The Rock? Wasn't he trying to kick off the whole DCEU? Now it's this Hispanic kid, and they're all about like there was one thing I did like about it that I found to be funny. And it's funny in a way that it will be funny to everyone, but it's really sad that it's funny. And it's when the uncle, which is played by George Lopez, was
Yeah.
worried about when the kid got the text that they were gonna come to the house. And he goes, and you know what that means when they come to the house? Abuela, they're gonna ask for papers. Papa, they're gonna ask for papers. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, yeah, because this is how it is. Like, motherfuckers are living in this country and they got worried about people. So I was laughing. I'm like, because you know
Yeah.
what? They're gearing this towards. Listen, I don't play the race game. I hate it. But they're gearing this towards Hispanics, the Mexicans, the South Americans, everyone who's sneaking over the border. Sorry, you're not here. If you did not get in here with a visa, you are an illegal immigrant. You're not a migrant. You didn't migrate here. You came here illegally. That's
Yep.
it. I don't have no problem saying that. I it's not anything about hate. It's just about one thing. It's about we
The
have
law is the
our
law.
people. Look, yeah, we have our own people to take care of. We got
Yep.
our own people sleeping in the street. You got veterans that fought in this country to fight for our freedom that are sleeping in the damn street. But you're telling me we should just let everybody in this country because other people are suffering? I get that. But what about our people? What about the people who already suffer for this country? What do you do
Yeah.
to those people? You leave them on the street with nothing to eat, with nothing to do. And meanwhile, you're just saying, oh, you know what, though? Because in New York, it's funny that actually, I don't know if anybody's doing this, um, but the man, He's like, oh, we need your help. We need you to take in some migrants. We'll pay you $3.25 a day. So let
See,
me get this straight. You want me to take in a family that you didn't even vet yet, that we don't even know if the guy is a freaking serial killer, and you want me to take him
yeah,
in, and you
yeah,
gonna pay me $3.25 a day for that? $324 a day. That you can't just do something else with that for our city, right? Ah man, it's all a money game, and that's why I hate politics. Politics is a big freaking. It's the dirtiest game in the world. Believe me, I know enough politicians to tell you this, and they tell me the same thing. And they say, "Yeah, don't ever do it, Mike. You're not gonna like it." I said, "No, I know I wouldn't like it, because believe me, I'm not saying that I've been in that position where I was asked to run for office, but a couple of times I could have actually done something like that, but
yeah.
nah,
Here's
nah.
the craziest thing about Blue Beetle. With all the
Mm,
hype that it has, with all
yeah.
the like, it was rated when it first got rated 86%. It's now dropped down to 79. It was the top rated critic success of all the superhero movies of 2023 up until yesterday when it dropped down to 79%. Um Here's the crazy part about it. All of those blue seats are not taken. And that is for tomorrow night, Saturday, at one of the biggest theaters in my area.
Mm.
There are 12 seats that are taken.
Wow, I didn't even think about doing
That's
that,
it.
but I'm gonna check mine. Okay, so now check
Like,
this out. So
that's insane.
I'm
And
telling you right now, this is gonna open with less money than the Flash did. Less. About half of what the Flash opened with. This is a
yeah.
projection. Like, I don't go by what everybody says. I
And the
get
Flash opened with 30 million or 50.
the Flash opened with 30 million, and then I think it rounded off at the end of the week with about 37 or 45 million. I
Okay.
forget exactly, but I know it didn't do more than $132 million total
It,
box.
it just it just closed out of the box office at 268 million.
Yeah, and so it lost money. Big loser, big
Oh,
loser. Just like
it
oh
made
my god,
48 million over its budget. And that's
yeah,
just covering
yeah,
the reshoots.
yeah.
Like, let's be
Right,
real. That doesn't even cover the cost of the marketing. That doesn't cover the cost of
right,
the legal
exactly.
fees that Ezra Miller incurred for them.
Oh yeah, imagine that PR nightmare. I telling you, and I told the studio what I thought because they shop it around. They give us emails. What do you think we should do with this movie? Oh, scrapping. I give it an email. Why? I said because
Yep.
if you think that fans are gonna come check this movie out and support what this maniac's done in public, I said it's the perfect example of giving people a reason to hate um cis white men. Like, yo, this guy's a freaking nightmare. He needs to go to jail. That's it. I said, if you release this movie, it's gonna be the worst thing you could release. Maybe worse than that movie I heard Batgirl you're trying to release. And they didn't release that, so at least they listened.
So I know Wikipedia is not the best site, but
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting that now on Wikipedia, the budget has been upped to 300 million.
Oh yeah, because let me tell you something. Okay, do you know how many inflated budgets I've been on that were always underreported?
Oh,
Always.
my dad's a accountant. He's helped build student housing. This is what his company's built in the past
Okay.
5-10 years. Student
Mm-hmm.
housing, weed manufacturing plants. So basically, like, taking a weed crop and manufacturing it to give to the consumer. They've built those, and they've built casinos. And I was like, so you're literally in sex, money, and drugs.
Yeah.
He goes,
That's a good
yeah,
fucking
pretty
industry to
much.
be in. Yeah. Right. Ask him if
And
he's looking for any employers.
he was like, I'm the lead accountant on a lot of this. I'm literally looking at the books every single day, and they're asking for more and more money every single day. And I'm like, yeah, we had that money about $400 million ago.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's not in our budget anymore. We're way over.
you see the thing about this, what people and it's insane. It's there is an audience that's gonna be for this. They feel like the freaking which I hope that that Gen X don't do this. Or no, actually it's the boomers. They're gonna leave it to this new generation, the millennials, the ones who identify as all this other craziness.
Mm-hmm.
You should get a periodic table of fucking of what am I? I don't even know what I am. I'm a vegetable today. I'm a mineral tomorrow. I'll be a cell phone the next day.
That's Gen Z. I'm a millennial.
Yes. Right. No, I know. You guys aren't the problem. It's the next generation. But that's what I'm saying. So the wealth is not even going to you guys or to our generation. It's going to them.
Yep.
You see that? You see that? Like, screw them. Give me the wealth. They don't know what they're going to do with it. Trust me, they're just going to use it for dumb shit, like getting things cut off and getting things put on. You don't need to do all that. Don't worry, you give it to me. I won't do any kind of mutilation, I promise. Yeah, so this is what they're shooting for. They're shooting for this futuristic customer of the not the millennials, the Gen Z freaking they got freaking profiles for their bios and their freaking I can't. I identify as a man, period. I identify as a bird, a tree, a bird. Like, come on. Like, I don't get this. Like, it's real simple, people. If you don't understand that this is a mental thing, then honestly, you really need to see a psychiatrist. This is mental illness. It's all it is. Imagine if you told your mother when you were younger, Mom, I want a gun. But I want a gun. And then you know what? She winds up getting you a gun, right? Then you go and shoot yourself in the foot, right? Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Is that your fault for shooting yourself in the foot, or is that your parents' fault for being dumb to give you a kid a gun to begin with? And that's the point, parents. Remember what I just said about that story. Giving your kids choices is like giving them a gun. You know when you get a choice? When you're 17 and you move the hell out. That's your choice. Your choice is this. Do like I tell you or get out. You see, this is the problem. Like, I'm not saying you got to kill your kids or whip them, but, this whole discipline thing seems to be something that doesn't seem to take place in the modern world. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a stern believer in abuse. I am a stern believer in corporal punishment, though, but not in a way that you're going to hurt somebody. You got to do it to where they learn from their experience, And it doesn't have to be anything physical. I mean, I've had children. I have nieces and nephews, and whenever they did something bad, depending on the situation, you take the proper measurements. But that's important to do that, especially when they're kids, because when you start entertaining all this nonsense, like if a kid came up to me and says, "I feel like a girl," and you were a boy, I say that's nice, but you do understand you're a boy still. You can feel however you want to feel, but biology is biology. God made us this way. That's it, And I'm not a religious person when I say that, but you gotta say something because these people don't understand. You're trying to explain something logic. Maybe spiritually they'll understand. Be happy with yourself. You don't have to necessarily go run out. Listen, doing things to yourself not going to change how you feel about yourself. You want to feel better about yourself, you got to deal with what the problem is within. And the first thing you do, and I preach it, and I rarely practice it, but it does work. Clean your room. Get down and clean your room. Just clean your space. That space you always wanted to clean for months that you just haven't got to yet. Clean it. Make it. I've been doing it I've been cleaning down here forever, and that's what it comes down to. Is that instead of worrying about what you want to be, clean your room first. And I guarantee you, as you start picking things up that you forgot that you left around, and you start looking through the things that you have, you start to realize, wait a minute. You got more important things to worry about. You're like, oh, I forgot to pay this bill. Oh, I was supposed to go to this party last month. People get too distracted and too much into themselves. And I get that. It's fun, It's something that you would want, who would want to feel good about themselves. But at the same time, you don't want to get trapped within your own mind. And this is the problem. These kids, they think that, oh, I feel this way. So that means the solution is I'm gonna trans into whatever, because this is how I feel. It's a feeling. It's a moment in your life that may pass. Don't ever be in a rush to change things. Like I always say, if you're gonna do anything, you gotta. And I don't try to talk nobody out anything, especially adults. Listen, don't you want to go get whatever surgeries you want to make yourself feel better? Go right ahead. Hey, I will just say this much: I take my time with everything, especially when it comes to surgery, because if you could avoid it, don't get life-altering surgery. I mean, just think about it like this: forget the fact that you're changing yourself into something that you can never become. Yep. You are taking a chance with your own life. for no reason. You die on that operating table. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't hear about it, but I'm pretty sure there's been those operations that, let's just say, didn't go the way that they thought it was with any
Yeah.
operation. And it's not to say to not to be a person that if you want to transition, not to transition. What I'm saying is that when it comes to surgery in general, you should not do surgery unless you absolutely need it to save your life.
Yeah. Don't take it
That's what I
lightly.
say about it.
Yep.
Because everybody thinks, oh, I just go and get a surgery. No, no, that's a major. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can happen. You don't know like the long-term side effects of things you don't even see yet. This is all new. This is pseudoscience. It's
Yeah.
not a science.
So
And when
I completely agree. I think it's I think that we need to get away from the idea of just change what you look like and that will fix all the problems.
yeah, I think we need to get
Um
away from the
yeah.
fact that we are so focused on the individual that we lose the sight of what it's about. It's
Yeah.
not about you. You see, that's the whole thing. Stop being selfish. It's not about you. Stop being selfish for a minute. Stop thinking about yourself. Think about the things that you're gonna do and hurt the people you may hurt with your actions. Don't be
Yeah.
selfish. That's a selfish thing. You want to be treated like an adult? This is how you act like an adult. You do things that will make you selfless. You do not
Yep.
do things because you're selfish. You do it to help other people. When I
And
do things, it's always to try to help other people, help
I'm
myself,
not
of course.
saying, and I know you're not saying, don't go get the surgery.
Yeah,
It's think about the consequences of this before you go and do it. Mull it over for at least 6 months to a year before you're just like, oh yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna go do that.
yeah.
Like, no,
Because
that's not that you're not in the right frame of mind if you're just like,
there you go,
you know
and
what
then you
would solve
see
it? Let's go get a surgery.
right, and you see, and that's what you just said, and automatically, without you even thinking about it,
Yep.
what does it come down to? The mental
Yep.
aspect of the person's psyche. It does. I'm sorry. If you don't want, if this bothers you that you're hearing that, then you should really listen because
Yeah.
if your psyche's like this and you're not being told the truth. Look, I was one time, believe it or not, I was 300 pounds, right? I gained 300 pounds. This is a great story. You know, I did my thing. I stopped working for a little while and I was enjoying life. I gained 300 pounds, right? And I remember one of my friends from my old job was like, Jesus, Mike, you got so freaking fat. So, right? And I appreciated that. No, I appreciated
No,
that.
yeah,
You want
I
to know
get it.
why? Because I was with my fiance for years, kids, friends, family, everyone. Not one of them said that to me, but him. And
No.
I'm like, thank you. You told me the damn truth because I don't need to be lied to. Oh, you look good. I was 285, 300. I didn't look good. I looked fat. So I was like, all
Yeah.
right. So you know what? Instead of sitting here complaining about it, I know what I did to my girl's like, she's like, oh, you got asthma, you got back problems. I was like, yeah. I understand that. That's what the young tell themselves when
Yep.
they don't want to do something. It's an excuse. I'm
There's
not
no
gonna make no
excuses.
excuse. I took the first thing you gotta do in life is take responsibility for your actions. I
Mm-hmm.
took responsibility for the fact that I wind up being such a fat bastard. And I'm not saying anything fat. I'm
Yeah.
not bashing fat people. Those don't start like demonetize us. I was fat. I'm telling a story about how I looked at myself, not what I think about fat people. I don't think I'd be honest. When people ask me how it was, I loved it for one reason because it was the one time in my life I actually remember being completely ignored and invisible. Like I'm not saying I'm like the most attractive person in the world, but I've always had people like everywhere from every aspect of life always wanting to interact with me some way, somehow, even strangers. But when I became fat like that, no one was looking at me, and I was so
Yeah.
happy. I really was. I was like, wow. Like people, I'm the opposite of people. I was getting too much attention. I didn't want it. So when I wasn't getting any of it, I was happy not getting it. And I wasn't sad even when I just realized it one day, and I was like, wow. And then I started to realize it was a sad thing. I said, damn. So this is what they mean when they say like people who are overweight and really obese in this country are invisible. They just ignore you. Like, you're just looked at like a freak. I don't think I ever got like really bad stares or anything, but I know that I was way overweight. And I knew that I had the intelligence and the capabilities of taking care of this without making excuses. So what I did was, and I'll write in a book about this. That's why I tell you, because I will write a book about this one day. I have a complete program. I made a complete exercise program, eating program. I did it on my own. And I made a goal to lose 100 pounds in a year and I actually wound up losing my first 100 pounds in 10 months, and I went down to 114 pounds of weight I lost. So I
That's
went
amazing.
from
Good job.
285 to 171 at my lightest, and then I just beefed up a little to about 200. I'm hitting the weights hard again because symbiotic is
Okay.
coming. I gotta stay strong. I gotta hit that road. Gotta be
Yeah.
lifting those boxes. That's a workout, man. Everybody thinks short boxes are a joke, man. Yo, pick up 20, 30, 40 of those a day. You'll see. You
Yep.
always start. You're like, damn, I got guns. Just keep picking up your boxes, kids. Watch. I'm gonna start making videos of little short box exercises.
So getting back to comics
Yeah,
real
man.
quick,
Yeah.
before we go, I definitely want to just
Yeah.
say, going back to the Flash, especially
Yes.
this, I'm looking at it right now. It's expected to lose 200 million. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but a $300 million budget now puts it into like $800 million to break even.
Right. Just to break even. Absolutely.
If you made 268, just round numbers, let's say 270, you're looking at 530 in
Half a
losses.
billion dollar loss. What
Yeah.
they try to do all the time is sugarcoat it. When they tell you they lost 200 million, add another 250 million to that. It's usually that much. Yeah.
And
Always. It never fails. Never fails.
so I was
And
looking at like the biggest box office bombs. John
Mhm.
Carter's at the top with barely 200 million.
Wow.
Like a little bit over 200 million. So this is set to be not just the biggest box office bomb for a superhero movie, but the biggest box office bomb of all time.
So it's gonna break the last DC bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I hope it does better. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Look, I'm not bashing DC. I really wish and hope that they would do this. The problem
Agreed.
is that I don't feel like it's anything that you guys are gonna see that is you haven't really saw before.
Yep.
That's it. That's if it was something that I could say in the movie. I was waiting. I was like, okay, maybe I'm being a dickhead like usual. I said, so let me just go in here and really give it a chance. So I was waiting for that moment to pop, and I was waiting for the and I didn't like the fact that they backed out of the Batman's a fascist statement. They didn't back out of it. He said it, but I already knew. They had everybody in the movie turn around to him and go, whoa, whoa. He goes, no, I'm joking. Why you? He goes, what are you getting so serious about? He goes, I like Batman. But you can tell, like, George Lopez came up with that for shock factor, and it worked.
Oh,
but
for sure.
The thing about it was that the director ran with that, like, yeah, fuck you, fans. And then that's when it started getting backlash. And George Lopez told him, commenting, what are you doing? Like,
it was a joke.
I was gonna go on the show and start getting people pissed at me. I love Batman. He collects Batman. So, he has old school Batman. I don't know if you ever see George Lopez's collection. He collects Batman. So when
I mean, look up the definition of a fascist. Batman kind of lines up.
Yeah. But you know what it is? If you looked at and you understood what you were looking at, the uncle's supposed to be one of these conspiracy theorists type.
Yeah.
So it fits his character to say something like that. But you can tell they backtracked on it. I was just kept it just like it was and kept to my grounds, He just said it real quick. Batman's a fascist. Everybody's like, what the hell?
So then the other thing that I'm seeing is it opened worldwide with 130 million. Only roughly 60 of that was 55 million of that was domestic. So that means it made 75 million internationally. In the second weekend, it dropped 72%. Third largest sophomore drop ever for a superhero film. That's behind Morbius and Steel. And then in its third weekend, it dropped another 65% to 5.2 million, losing out on being in 1,500 theaters. 1,500 theaters pulled it out because it was doing so poor. It was a waste of their time to put it on in the theater. Yep.
Yeah. Waste of electricity when no one's coming to watch
the show. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
In the third week.
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, it's like I'm telling you, people are sick and tired of you forcing change on them. They like their stories the way they like them. We grew up with stories as children. So imagine as an adult. Like, it's funny because you see it and you laugh, but then you realize, that emotion that you feeling is that's like a piece of your childhood being ripped away from yourself. And you're like, what are you doing? No, this is not the way it is. You're going to defend your childhood.
It's okay to do minor changes. Like, I don't care if you change a character. If they're wearing blackface, obviously that's not okay for this time. Like,
absolutely,
minor changes are okay. But to change a story like Flashpoint, one of the biggest, most controversial stories in all of DC Comics. Flashpoint was massive and huge to the point where they're still making comic books about Flashpoint. There's still books coming out. Flashpoint from the Dark Multiverse, Flashpoint from this perspective. Like, there's still stuff going on that is so massive with Flashpoint. How are you going to change that storyline? You can't do it and make people happy at the same time.
No,
it's not possible.
And the thing about it is this: adaptation. You got to be able to, like, a lot of these stories that they're taking, they can't adapt. Correctly, at least. I mean, I'll be honest. Give me 1 year and give me one of a studio. And I don't even need a lot of actors. I just need about maybe 5 writers and about 10 actors, and I can make a fucking blockbuster movie. You know why? Because I know how to do all the effects. I know how to sit there. I know what people want. I know, like, when I wrote my comic, I can't wait until it comes out. Trust me, when you guys read it, you're going to understand. You're going to be like, yes, I wrote this for you, not for me. It's for you guys, because that's what the business is about. They forgot. They call us toxic. No, we're the fucking paying customer.
What's up, buddy? You caught us at the tail end of our conversation.
Yes. So we're not the toxic people. We're the customer, and the customer's always right. And when you don't heed to that credo, this is how the definition of when you go woke, go broke comes into play. So that's exactly what happens. When you don't heed to that, you go woke, you're gonna go broke. Stop mixing your politics in with your business. There's a time. Look, freedom,
time and place.
We have in this country. Time and place, though. Like, I'm watching a football game. I don't care about your protest, and I believe me, I protested. But I'm watching football. Listen, you can do this after. Nobody cares. If you're taking a knee at the game, that makes me look at your stats, and then I start to think, man, you know what? You really are a sucky ass player. Maybe that's why you're doing all this shit, to distract from the fact that you can't
need something.
You needed to take a knee because your ass is that freaking physically riddled that you can't stand. So you started taking a knee, and then you're just like, oh, damn, I might as well just stay in this position and say I'm protesting for whatever, you know? So I'm not saying that we don't have the right to protest and stuff like that, but it's like when some people, I get mad at YouTube too, and some people get mad at social media and go, oh, you know, everything's so censored. I'm like, okay, well, we have freedom of speech, true, but it's like this. Let's just say you come and enter my house, and I don't know, I just have kids around. I'm like, can you not curse? That's not me censoring your speech. That's me asking you to agree to the user terms of you entering my house. The same thing you would do on all of these apps. Those are terms of agreement.
That's the norms of my house. You can't accept that. There's the door.
And if you don't like those rules, this is why I tell everybody, make your own. Make your own. If it's that easy, it's not. So play within the rules like you were playing within the rules of society. If I knew that I can get away with breaking the law, would I know? Because I'm a productive citizen. I don't want to destroy things, you know? But this is the point. Like, you have to play within the rules of things, and you have to respect other people's houses. We're in somebody's house, the YouTube house. Look, whatever you tell me, guys, I'll do. I mean, I'm not going to, like, sell my soul or anything, but I will abide by what's common and practical because, you know, this is your house. Do I think it sucks that we can't say whatever the hell we want? Yeah, it sucks. But maybe one day we'll build our own network. I'll call it some craziness, and we'll just all curse everybody out. And I'll tell everybody, come to my platform. You won't get banned. I don't care what it is. Just don't murder nobody on TV. That's it. And we good. No, none of the 7 major felonies, and we good. Everything else is on the table. You want to say whatever you want. You want to do whatever you want. That's fine. I think there's a platform that will be like that one day, and that's the platform that will take over everything because it comes down to a point of I understand that you have to monitor what people say, but at the same time, just let the people speak. I mean, well, this is what the country was based on. I mean, you used to have freaking the government. They used to sit there before the government was founded and would just argue for hours with each other, you know, about whatever. But this is how changes get done. What sucks about this world now is that trying to censor what you say because they're worried about hurting somebody's feelings. Listen, if you got to worry about what you're going to say that's going to drive somebody to their death, if you're saying, I'm not going to say this about you because I'm afraid that you may hurt yourself, Why is that person walking around society if you're that afraid that
Agreed.
that person's gonna hurt themselves? Because if you don't, you won't say something. But if you really feel this way, why? Maybe somebody else is gonna say something to this person and trigger them. Why do
Yeah.
we allow this in society? You don't allow that behavior. You don't let that permeate. You have to like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a steward when it comes to behavior, and I see a pattern. I like to mention to people, and I don't come at. I come from a place of more or less intellectual curiosity as to why people would do something like this. So when I talk to people, that's where I come from, an intellectually curious side. And then by me coming at them like that, I think they start to think about it more. And then I'll say something that resonates with them. Like I'll say like, okay, so when you were little, you were how badly were you picked on? Like, did you
Yeah.
ever fight back? I could tell. I mean, I was one of the kids that I was going to school. I wasn't like a bully, but I was. If the bullies messed with me, I kicked their asses. I mean, I was a bully
Yeah.
beater, but I wasn't the bully. I was the guy that I remember I would just sit there as a kid and I would see these little kids getting picked on, and I would just come over to the kids and I'd be like, "Leave those kids alone. What are you doing?" I go, "So you going what?
Yeah.
What? What's up, motherfucker? You want to fight?" "Oh no, that's it. Fine." And I have a bunch of little kids coming by me, and
Yeah.
I started
No, I
seeing
hear
I
ya.
started getting cookies and stuff. I was like, "You don't have to give me nothing, man. It's all good." They're like, "No, no, thank you, sir. Thank you." I just
Yeah.
say like me growing up, I watched a lot of people, and I think the majority of people will pretty much like maybe they feel that they're going to be judged, or maybe they feel like they don't have the power to do it, or maybe they're just afraid. But most people just sit back. Well, I never did that.
Agreed.
I gotta get involved. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't mind my. Of course, there are certain things I won't mind my business to, but if I see something that I feel I should be involved in, which is like person needed help, say somebody getting robbed, I'm not standing there on my cell phone and
Mm-hmm.
filming. Oh no no no! I'm taking the toolie out. The toolie has to come out, and wherever the toolie lands, that's where it's gonna land. I
Yep.
just tell people, you f around, you find out.
Yep.
That's
100%.
all it comes down to. Definitely.
On the F around and find out. No, I'm gonna end.
Yeah, that was a way to end it, right? F around and you find out. But look, I just want to say before we go, I'm sorry because I mean to cut you off,
You're
but
good.
um, I went to the printers. Everything looks good. This comic is going to print next week, so hopefully it should be
Sweet.
done by the end of next week to the beginning of the week after. And for all my Instagram family, I'm going to take care of you guys. Don't worry about the website. We'll hook you guys
Appreciate
up
it.
with specials and stuff. I got you guys, and I'm very excited about this. I really hope, and I'm telling you guys, be critical. If it sucks, tell me how bad I did. I say it's bad, but it's awesome. It's amazing. The art, everything. I'm just showing it to people today. I was on a show today, showing off a couple of pictures, and the minute I opened that book up, people were like, "This is amazing." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Really?"
Send that to
They're
me.
like,
I
"This
want
is
to. I
not
want
even
to.
a
I want to
comic."
watch that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be. I gotta find out what show it was. My
Okay.
sister does some shows, so I'll let you know. I just kind of show up, and I was just in the show this morning because I was bringing her
Perfect.
some stuff. I sold some T-shirts to her, and yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. And I really can't wait for this to happen, guys. You can follow me on my channel, Spider's Lair. I got my own comic book company, Simiverse Comics. I'm online. I fixed the store, so it's looking a lot better now. You won't see the table up there and the chair. I fixed it all. So I got some
That's
stuff up there.
awesome, though.
Shirts for sale right now, and that's it. So yeah, man. I'm
Perfect.
sorry. I'm cutting the damn commercial.
Yeah.
You
All
see, but
good.
this is how you
I
make
love the
money,
shameless
kids.
plug.
You
You got to
gotta
do it.
hustle. Yes, there you go. Shameless plugs all day, everybody. Y'all have
Have
a
a good
nice
weekend,
night,
guys.
everyone. All right. All
See ya.
right, man. And I'll see you next week, my friend. And we'll be talking through the week. And if I hear any
Definitely.
more craziness, you'll be the first to know.
Love it.
Later.
Appreciate it.